Thank you for listening to Common Sense, a production of Citizens for Limited Government, a nonprofit 501c3 educational organization, as we bring you the limited government free market solutions to today's problems. Common Sense is a listener-supported radio program that depends upon your donations to continue sharing our common message. With your support and partnership, we can continue to make an impact. You can make a difference by supporting our effort to bring this message to the airways so we can reach even more people. If you like what you're hearing today and would like to support our program, please contact me at suann.penna@yahoo.com to learn about our donation options. All donations are tax deductible as allowed by law and are used to support the radio program. Your contribution on a monthly or one-time basis is greatly appreciated, and every gift is important. You can continue to join the conversation by joining us on Facebook at facebook.com/limitedgov2011. Thank you for joining us today, and we will be right back.
You know, I don't know if you noticed, Sue noticed this, but in Essex County, they have a no bid on the health insurance broker. And we
Right.
all know who gets that, Norcross. And so,
And that was honestly my biggest problem with the merger. Like on my site, we hit it constantly, and part of it was, you know, I campaigned and volunteered.
Are we ready?
Are we going back on? False alarm.
So we're going to talk about the millionaire's tax, and also the fact that New Jersey taxpayers have to work like 69 days to pay their state and local government.
Yeah, tax freedom
And
day. I
then
think
there's
there's
like
only
104 for the federal government and a few more. So really, you're working like 3/4 of the year to pay tax.
Is it only Connecticut that's later than us? I think.
Oh, jeez.
I think they're the only one that has a later tax freedom day.
I think they forgot to put my Steve Lonigan taxpayer in on them.
Steve, what a man.
he's lucky, he's totally funded by Coke.
Yeah,
I
they
love
love
that
him.
deal.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, right. Exactly.
yeah, right.
I'm working on it.
Just get pennies from them, you know.
Yeah, well, you know, you were talking about angry people earlier. That's always been the problem with him. Like, I hear him talk, and I agree with him 95% of the time. He's just,
He's off the wall.
if you could take Chris's personality,
Oh, here we go.
give it to him.
The healthcare takeover is not the only example of a massive government overreach. The
It's just his voice, right?
allegedly a consumer protection
He's
measure
not going to pop out behind one of the plants or something,
Yeah,
is
it's
he?
gonna be interesting to see what happens with Obamacare after this election. Because Obamacare's a mess. It's just a mess. I can't, I'm not that articulate on it, but it's a mess.
We're all going to be serfs.
It's a mess.
Well,
I haven't studied it, you know.
thank God the governor shot down the healthcare exchange law. That was good.
So he's not going to implement it.
Well,
We can talk about that at the end, I think.
he'd initially held off on it because he said, well, let's wait and see whether or not it's constitutional, but then he ran out of time, so he vetoed it. And his rationale was primarily, hey, we don't even know if this is constitutional. Why would I? But I think he would veto it again.
See,
I love that music.
good music.
Yes, Pastor Burgess wrote that.
Really?
Yeah, but Essex County would save $10 million if they went in a state healthcare plan. You know, Camden would save a bucket if they went in a state healthcare plan, and George Norcross will not let Dana Red do it.
Welcome back, everybody. My name's Sue Ann Penna, your host here of Common Sense, joined by Matt Rooney, our guest host from SaveJersey.com, and Candy Strait, Board of Governors, Rutgers University. Thank you again for being here. Before the break, we were talking about the business climate here in New Jersey. We do have an issue with a lot of regulation, high taxes. Of course, our property taxes affect all of that. We are one of the highest tax states in the nation. I found an interesting number here. New Jersey taxpayers have to work almost 69 days to pay for state and local government. I think you add another 104 days to pay your federal taxes. And then there's, you know, that other group of taxes. So pretty much we are working 2/3 of the year to pay for taxes before we get to keep any of that money. That's a problem for business. That's a problem for people living here. I'm in Essex County. We just, you know, I got my tax bill, another $375. It's getting harder to live here, to justify living here. This is a great state. I mean, we have access to everything.
Yeah.
Once you're, you know, the three of us, I believe, are Jersey born and bred.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes.
Have never left the state, and we
gonna have to
don't
carry
want
us
to.
out.
We don't want to. So we're here, trying to fight the cause and fight for what's best for New Jersey. But with these issues looming over us, sometimes you feel like you're hitting your head against the wall. Matt, what do you?
I couldn't have said it better myself, so maybe
thank
I shouldn't even try.
Thank
But no, it's true. I mean, look, this is just another thing where you're only as good as what your neighbors are doing, and this is something the governor has been 100% correct about. The Democrats in the legislature continue to demagogue his 10% across the board tax cut and say, oh, it's pennies, it's peanuts. When we live next to Pennsylvania in this prime real estate, like you said, we have access to the major cities, the shores. It's not worth as much when PA has I believe it's like a 3.5.
It's a 3, I think it's 3.
Is it
3%.
3?
I think it's 3%.
3% across the board income tax rate. Whereas in New Jersey, we're already at, I think it's 8 point.
It goes up to 8 point something.
8 point something. Yeah, I'm not in it, so I don't know it. But now I think they want to boost it up to 10.75%, which, when clearly you already have a problem because we're the most expensive state in the region, how you think making it less profitable to live here is completely beyond me.
The shell game of our tax dollars, it just drives me crazy. I mean, you're taking my money, you're taking it only to give it back. Well, just leave it where it was to begin with, and then we can each choose. But go ahead,
Yeah,
Candy.
well,
What were you gonna
let me say this, that one of the great things about the United States of America is that we have a lot of mobility. And people can leave New Jersey. And people are leaving New Jersey.
And they're taking that revenue with
And they're
them.
taking the revenue with them. So businesses are leaving New Jersey. And we have to stop that, and we got to get businesses to come back in. But as Matt said, when we have an 8-point-something% income tax rate in New Jersey, and the highest property taxes in the nation, and Pennsylvania has much more reasonable property taxes and only a 3% state income tax, people are going to go there. And it's not like we have a low state sales tax. We have a high state sales tax. So we have to change that. So that's why Chris is so correct in saying, we have to lower taxes. We have to lower taxes. And then we have to, cut spending too. So if we don't lower taxes, we're going to continue to have this outflow. We will stagnate, our economy will stagnate even further, and unemployment will go up even further.
I mean, isn't it, is it the Loeffler curve of when you pay less taxes, the state and
Laffer curve.
that you actually increase the revenues? I mean, people are spending more, they're keeping more of their money, and they're doing with it as they choose. Which brings us to the millionaire's tax. Has that, every once in a while, we still hear it, it rears its ugly head. Where are we in the state with the millionaire's tax? Is it still on the table? Or will it ever go away?
Well, I mean, the Democrats have put it on the table. It's not going to get off the table because the governor correctly is not going to act on it. But I think this particular issue, more than any other, just proves how these liberals and trend are interested in nothing else except scoring political points. They let it expire. The myth that they continue to push is that Governor Christie is trying to raise taxes. That's not the case. They had one in place. It obviously did the damage that it did. I think there was a Boston College study that said $70 billion worth of wealth left New Jersey between 2004 and 2008. Wow. So they devastated our state's economy. I think it was December 2009, they let the millionaire tax expire. Chris Christie assumes office, then they decide to beat him over the head and say that he's trying to help rich people. If you think that it was such a great idea, which the numbers completely disprove that, so, that's another issue altogether, how anybody could possibly argue that with a straight face. You can't now turn around and expect people to take you seriously when you were the ones that did make it permanent.
Right,
it's
they're
laughable.
writing that narrative and they're keeping that part of it out, and not everybody knows that.
Right, they don't know that, and
They've run with it.
They run with it, and what they're betting on, and this goes into what we were talking about earlier, at the end of the day, this is about buying votes. It's about taking money from the wealth producers and redistributing it. And the job producers, and redistributing it to people that they want to vote for them. Pure and simple, because again.
Creating a voting bloc.
Exactly, because there's no other way to defend it, because like you said, there's been so much study and so much analysis over the years, there's a clear correlation between low tax rates, people taking that money and reinvesting in the economy. Bill Gates does not have a Scrooge McDuck vault. I don't know if you remember that cartoon from the 80s. He would swim in the sea of coins. That isn't how they work. They hire people, they open new stores, they replace old
But they
equipment.
didn't build that.
But they didn't build that. Just one more thing.
One of the interesting things that's going to go on this November, another election, so California has an initiative on the ballot where asking the voters to approve tax increases. And they're telling them how they're going to spend the money. And so it'll be very interesting to me because California, they are so taxed. People, wealth is leaving that state every day too, okay? And so it'll be fascinating to me to see how that vote comes out. Because I believe if the vote comes out and say, no, we don't want any more taxes, then Governor Brown will have to do nothing, but he'll have to reduce spending. If it happens that California says, no, okay, we'll increase the taxes, you'll see California, really, unemployment go higher. People continue to leave the state. So it's going to be a very interesting experiment. I don't know how it's going to come out, but it'll be fascinating to see. Because if the voters of California finally get it and realize that they can't afford all these taxes, they'll probably
They're starting
vote
to. I
this
mean,
way.
how many towns in California now are starting to go
Bankrupt, yes,
Right.
that's scary.
I mean-
I worry that that could happen to New Jersey, because some of this stigma has been taken away from going bankrupt now that we've had 4 towns, Stockton, San Bernardino. These are not tiny little towns, and Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, for that
Right.
matter. I would hate to see that to happen to New Jersey, although it wouldn't shock me to see some of these municipalities in New Jersey at some point in time try to take that road.
Yeah, I
Only a
mean,
matter
what
of
is the, are we coming up? No, we have 2 more minutes. Are we coming up to that? I mean,
Very scary,
it is.
to me, very scary.
I mean, the municipalities are spending a lot of money. You're seeing so many of them not cut spending, but they're always looking for revenue. Always, they're very creative when it comes to revenue. And when we come back from the break, eventually I want to talk about that because cutting government and cutting spending is never, ever part of the equation. It's just, how can we find more money to support these things? How can we take more of people's property, which is their money, in order to support these things? And how do this mentality of entitlement, and how do we switch out of that? And how did we even get there? I mean, you hold the carrot out and everybody's jumping to take that carrot, but they're giving up an awful lot in return for taking that entitlement. And if you try and touch it, I called Social Security an entitlement in an article that I wrote, and oh my goodness, the comments that came back. I paid into that. Well, I bet you're getting a lot more out of it than you paid in, so we can call it an entitlement program. And if you feel that it's yours, it probably is an entitlement program.
You like flirting with danger, huh?
I guess.
But the
It's a
reality-
dangerous thing to
Yeah,
say.
The reality is, if you care about young people in America, we're going to have to make changes to Social Security.
Right, it's a complete
You
Ponzi
know,
scheme.
whether we have to more means test it, for the lack of a better word, whether we have to, and I'm 64 years old, right? And so I can get Social Security, I can get it now, but I think it's 66 when I get full whatever. But you know what? Make me 68, make me 67, I don't care. But you're gonna have to do something. And of course, Social Security is nothing of a problem compared